you know.
That's awesome.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no, thank you.
Just goes. It's that sort of slow. It's like a sort of.
Not willing.
No, it's one of your songs.
I make my songs up and I forget to do it like that.
Yeah. No, it's more like a bluesy one. It's more just sort of, you know, like just.
Hey, good morning, gang. Well, we'll come back and listen to him during the break. Listening to a little Cajun box drums this morning. Stumbled onto those a couple of months ago. Really been rather impressed with their sound. So I'll be working on a couple of wooden head drums. Not real sure about the box though. Doesn't look comfortable. So yeah, how's everybody doing this Sunday morning? Like I said in the chat, it's a little cool, a little misty, a little rainy here in North Texas. Looks like Danae says, beautiful weather in Nebraska. Well, it's about time. You guys been freezing your ass off. Yeah. Looking at Facebook this morning, little sad news. Don Knotts dies at 81, I think it says. Big loss there. Wonderful, wonderful star. Grew up watching him when I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Yeah. Well, I hope everybody's doing all right. Hope everybody's had a decent weekend. I know mine's been busier than a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest. I had to replace my router and completely reconfigure my network yesterday. So that's what I did all day yesterday. But as you can tell, obviously, I got it up and running. Don't know if anybody will be able to tell any difference. Looking at the specs on the router, it looks like it's handling the upload bandwidth rather well, so I guess we'll see. I think I saw Clint in here a while ago. Looks like he buggered off. Looks like we got two watching in HOP. And, yep, right. So what's our topic? Well, it says right there, why me? Well, you know, this is a bit of a quandary that has always struck people ever since I can remember. People always asking, why me? Why me, Lord? Why me? Well, why not you? Yeah, Danae says we're getting a break in the weather. Yeah, well, I think we all need it there. Yeah. So, why me? Well, you know, I've talked a lot about karma. I've talked a lot about momentum. And a lot of people get confused with karma and momentum, and, you know, we've talked about that before. But the question of why me, I've seen that question put people, literally, in the funny farm. I've seen the question cause people to commit suicide, and that's a shame. Even myself, when I was in my teens, things would happen, getting hormonal, as it were, as teens do. And I found myself getting caught up in the whirlwind momentum of why me. And at the end of the day, there really isn't an answer to that question. As human beings, we are hung up in the momentum of the earth. We're hung up in the cause and effect of everything and everyone around us. And I've had people say, well, I'll just I'll move out to the woods and be a hermit, and then maybe I won't get hung up in everyone else's momentum. Well, actually, you still are. It doesn't matter where on the planet you live, you're going to be affected by someone else's momentum. How is that? Well, we're all on the same planet. Every one of us on this planet is affected by everyone else's pollution. Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, all of the fluorocarbons that are released in the air. It doesn't matter where you hide, where you go, what you do, or where you think you can live. Now, you can move up to the mountains or out in the woods and be less affected. Maybe not personally interacted or affected by someone else's momentum. But then again, even then, to a degree, you are. So if you get hung up in this why me mentality, you essentially begin to forget the good things that are happening around you. You begin to miss the beautiful magic of kids playing. You begin to miss the beautiful magic of the birds singing, going out, into the woods and just enjoying everything else that's going on around you. Morning, Cindy. So when you get hung up in this why me thing, you spiral. And generally, you spiral right straight down into the abyss of no return. So what are some of the causes of why me? What are some of the causes that make us get into the why me whirlpool? Well, an automobile accident. Every day we see or we hear news stories of children getting mixed up in somebody else's chaos, right? We hear stories of parents losing their kids to automobile accidents, drunk drivers, just a wide world range. And you can quickly, as a parent, find yourself hung up in a whirlwind of why me? Well, there's a few things in the why me mentality that you can do to change that, to help that, to get around that. You first have to realize that, and let's take our kids, and I was on that momentum. And when I speak of our kids, there's millions of people out there today that don't have children per se, but they have animals. They have cats and dogs and farm animals that are their children, that they do raise and they take care of. So just because when I say your children, it doesn't necessarily actually mean I'm talking about the human variety of children. Cats, dogs, like I say, animals, farm animals, human children, whatever. Anything that you take care of is your child. So let's say we let our dog out of the house to go potty, and the dog gets stolen or run over or something. We feel guilty. So we know that why me comes from a bit of guilt. Well, it's not fair for the animal or the child to keep them pinned up in a house, wrap them up in bubble wrap, and stick them in a steel closet somewhere so that they can't get hurt. Living creatures have to experience the world to be able to live. Now, if something happened to my daughter, it'd probably tear me a new asshole for a while. But I would have to remember in my heart of hearts and in my head that why me would do nothing but wrap me up and swirl me into a whirlpool to nowhere. And there was a news story, or there is a news story. It's been going on for the last couple of weeks, couple of 3 weeks, I think, about two young ladies that were out walking in the woods on a path that they grew up walking on. They've been walking on it since they were knee-high to a grasshopper. They used to walk on the old railroad tracks. I mean, they've been doing this since they were old enough to walk. Same woods, same path, everything. And if one particular day some twisted bastard takes their life, they find their bodies. Luckily, one of the little girls had the quickness about her to push record on her phone, so they do have just a quick 2-second soundbite of the guy's voice. There is a manhunt to beat all manhunts looking for this bastard, and quite frankly, I hope they find him. And just between me and you, I'm sorry, but I hope he pulls a gun on them and they blow his ass away. Yeah, just, you know, not very ministerial of me, but, you know, hey, he deserves what he's got coming to him. But their parents, as well, they would be, they are completely destroyed over this. There's no sense in it. But one of the sets of parents I saw were trying to move forward. They were trying to do things in memory of their daughter so that they could move forward and not get hung up in the why me. And one of them, I saw a news brief somewhere where one of them said, yeah, I could have stopped her from going out to play that day, but that wouldn't have been fair to her. And they're absolutely right. Every day my daughter goes out and she rides her bicycle, or she rides her scooter, or she even goes out the front door. If there's a possibility something horrible could happen. I hope it don't. And I pray to the gods and goddesses that it doesn't happen. But we have to surround them with positive, loving, supporting energy. Well, then we have these situations where we all know our parents are going to grow older. The children will become the parent. That saying is as old as time. I have some really wonderful friends of mine that are having to live with their parent and be 24/7 caregiver. Luckily, at this point, at this stage, my parents, both of them, are still relatively independent. We watch them. There are things that they can't do that we try to help them with. And I'm getting up in years, and my knees and back won't let me crawl around under the house or even on the roof like I used to. You know, I can't just go balls to the walls 24/7. So, you know, yeah, sometimes I feel guilty about it, and sometimes I wish I could do more for them. But at the same time, if I let myself get stuck up in that whirlwind of why me, that's not going to do me or them any good. And it's really not going to do me any good, because all I'm going to do is get sicker and really not feel good. And then I'm not going to be any use to anybody. So with that in mind, what are some of the other examples that could cause why me? You know, Cindy says, yeah, that's me and Paul. They are taking care of Paul's mom, I think, right now. But what are, if you guys that are listening live, and those of you that watch the pre-recorded broadcast later, put in the chat area some of the examples that have caused you why me. Yeah, Cindy, I know it's tough to have to make that decision about a parent. And Danae, I know exactly what your what your husband's going through. My entire life, yes, I was since 98, 99. I've been involved in computers, but up until we moved up here, um, I did physical labor constantly. We had 5.5 acres. That 5.5 acres had to be taken care of daily. So when I went to work, I came home, I changed clothes, and I went to work. On weekends, we physically worked our ass off to get ready for whatever event we had that weekend. But you know, in reality, and I'm proof of this myself, in reality, if you have spent your entire life being physical, working out, um, in construction or whatever, what have you, um, you, and then all of a sudden you quit. You go from balls to the walls to sitting on your ass essentially overnight. That is the worst thing in the world anybody can do. Take a look at me, for example. But anyway, but you know, you find yourself getting wrapped up in why me. And when I was, like I say, when I was in my teens, I did ask a preacher friend of mine once, when I was in the Christian church. I asked him, I said, why am I going through this? Why am I being tested this way? Why do I have to live in all of this chaos and anxiety and anger? Why am I so mad all the time? And he looks me square in the face and he says, why not? You know, he almost pissed me off and I almost hit him. But at that point, I was going through some pretty nasty anger management issues. So I depended on this preacher at the time, in my teens and early 20s, to give me answers. So I asked him, I said, why is all this stuff happening to me? Why am I going through the anger? Why can't I keep a job? Why can't I this? Why can't I that? Wham, 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 wham. And he looks me square in the face, just as serious as he could be, and he says, why not? Oh, knock this, really. But you know, I thought about it later. Because it pissed me off. I got up and walked out of his office. I sod this, man. You know. But that one statement boiled around in my head for hours, for days. And once again, I found myself sitting outside in amongst the trees, and I smoked cigarettes at the time, of course. And in my 20s, I was still going through, you know, coming off of drugs and alcohol, so I was pretty angry most of the time anyway. So I was sitting there, and I remember looking up at the trees, and I verbally said, you know, there's got to be something more to this. There's got to be something more to what they're telling me. Okay, wait. Did the video die? Somebody let me know if I'm still broadcasting, will you? Because according to Facebook Live, I am still broadcasting. Let me refresh my page. Hi, I am still broadcasting. Okay, so the web page locked up. Alright, where the hell was I going? I got derailed. I'm looking on the back end, and it looked like the broadcast locked up. Okay, my bad. Sorry about that. Here we go. But anyway, where was I going with all of that, right? I was sitting in amongst the trees, and I was smoking a cigarette, and I remember kind of looking up in the trees, and there were squirrels playing. There were birds in the trees. It was early spring. It wasn't real hot, and for South Central Texas, that's saying something. And before I knew it, there were 3 or 4 squirrels playing down around my feet. And what this guy said, why not you, kept wondering, boiling around in my head. And I eventually come to the realization, and it took me years to accept it, but I had the realization that I'm not the only person on this earth. I'm not the only person going through crap. And I'm not the only one getting shot at and missed and shit at and hit. There are a number of people out there that are shit at and missed and shot at and hit. Those are the guys that are defending the freedom of the country. And I remember it like it was yesterday, even though I think I was 21, 22. But I heard this, this was the first time in a long time, at 21, 22 years old, the last time I listened to Spirit, I was in my early teens, 13, 14. Okay? This voice, way back here, said, plain as day, you are a part of a bigger picture. You are but a speck of sand on a beach. You are but a single hair on something that's far more bigger than yourself. And this voice continued with, the longer you take everything personal, the worse you're going to become. Poof, and it was gone. And I'm sitting there, watching the squirrels play. And I'm smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden I got tickled at myself. I got to laughing and got tickled at myself. And then I got even more tickled at myself because I had taken everything that was happening to me entirely too personal. I had taken everything that was going on in my world that was affecting me entirely too personal. And so that started me on the path of asking questions. But, and I'm not going to tell you that that day the why me mentality stopped. I'd be lying to you if I did. It didn't stop. But at least I had an answer now of a way to get around why me. And the simple answer, the simple part is, it's not about me. People on the internet, especially on Facebook, when you're talking and you're chatting, and they ask you how you're doing. They ask you, what's going on in your life? I really want to know. Well, we are close to 30 minutes past the hour. I'd like to take a pause for the calls. Number one, I need more coffee. And when we get back in the next half hour, we're going to talk about how to recognize the triggers that cause why me. So, off with you. Go get you some coffee. Take a pause for the calls. I'll see you back here in, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes.
Eu, como toco coisas mais leves, MPB, esse tipo de som, eu me adaptei melhor com esse carrom de construção leve, que tem essa coisa da esteira, que aceita essa coisa de tocar com a vassourinha. Mas no momento eu tenho usado muito essa coisa da eletrônica junto com o carrom, usando um set assim, eletroacústico mesmo, que seria o carrom, um hi-hat, uma máquina MPC 1000, que é um sampler, então já partindo para a parte eletrônica, uma controladora MIDI, que controla esse sampler, e mais o computador, usando o Ableton Live, que é um programa que o DJ do mundo inteiro usa, muitas bandas usam também, como sequência. E isso casa muito bem, esse carrom, especificamente, casou muito bem com esse set.
These dancing lights around me are produced by fireflies, creatures that have the strange ability to produce light. They bioluminesce. Many animals, including sharks, insects, and strange creatures from the deep, produce their own light. This groundbreaking film will venture into the soil beneath our feet, into mysterious tropical forests, and the twilight zone, the world of the deep ocean.
Yes!
Why do they glow? Are they communicating? And if so, what are they saying? Those questions have been answered in recent years by scientists. And in finding the answers, they've taken us into a world that is utterly unlike our own. Join me, David Attenborough, on a journey like no other and see things no humans have ever seen before.
Okay. Oops. All right. Welcome back. Got fresh coffee. Coffee is a good thing. So, yeah, boy, I can see that one, Clint. But you know, Why me? Why me is really hard not to get caught up in. It really is, you know. One of the things I don't want to get derailed completely, because I really actually had a way I was going with this, right? So when there's a little thing that when you're talking to friends or family or what have you, there's a little thing called, what I call, competitive chaos, comparative illnesses. Someone's talking to you and they've had an illness, or they've been sick, or they had a death in the family, or they've got something really bad going on. There's a lot of people out there, and I think it's a people thing. I don't think it's a personality thing. I really actually think it's a people thing. But when you ask someone, how are you doing? You're requesting an answer. But do you really expect an answer? People don't listen to the answer. When people say, how are you doing? They want to hear, oh, I'm doing okay. Life's going pretty good, thank you. How's it going with you? And then you want to break off with, well, my uncle's Aunt Susie died, and we found out the other day that Uncle Jim Bob Joe is in prison for murder. And me, well, my celiac has really been messing around, and my ankles hurt, and I can't feel my ass, and my teeth hurt, and I've just really been bad. Thank you for asking. And the poor person that you just said hello to is like, holy shit, I'm going to go home now. Or you ask someone how they're doing, and they give you the same spiel you just give them. Well, Aunt Susan passed away the other day. We're going to miss her. Other than that, I'm doing okay. Well, then you have to get competitive with your chaos, your illness, your why me. What's going on with you? What's wrong with you? One of the things that keeps us out of why me is don't surround yourself and hang on so tight with the negative that, damn, you can't see the positive if it was right in front of your face. Because you got these blinders on, man. I mean, you can't see anything but your own chaos, your own crap, what's going on with you. And there's this, wrapped up in why me is also the need for people to validate or vindicate what we're going through. We want somebody to feel sorry for us. We want somebody to do or say something to make us feel better about our own chaos and our own crap that's what's going on. Looks like Jennifer and Clint both are having connectivity issues. But did you know that the why me mentality? And it really is a thing. It really is a thing. The why me mentality is fed with the need to be competitive about the chaos going on in your life. Jennifer says, why me? Because I'm awesome. You go, girl. But you know, the why me mentality is pumped up. And it's fed when you ask someone, "Hi, how's it going? Haven't seen you in a long time. What's been going on?" Well, you ask the question, but you don't want the answer. Or you take the answer personally. And all that does is feeds your why me mentality. So before long, you've got these two people, and I don't want to sound gender specific because men and women do it the same. You've got these two people that are standing there like two banny roosters going, "Well, I had this happen to me, and I lost my job, and I lost my house, and my car was repoed, and well, Uncle Jim Bob Joe's wife was screwing around with Uncle Eddie," and somebody has to figure out a way to break the cycle. You got to break the cycle. Sorry, my eyeball's trying to jump out of my head. That could be uncomfortable. So, now I got to get my left eye refocused. How have I found to break the cycle? What do I do to break the cycle? Now, what you do to break the cycle, that's up to you. Okay? What you do to change your reaction to other people's actions, that's up to you. But the way I do it is, if I don't, this is going to sound kind of harsh, but I mean, it's a fact, right? If I don't have time, I'll just say it. If I don't want to hear someone's rhetoric stories because they have a history of being verbosely theatrical when you ask them, "How's it been going?" or "How are you doing?" They seem to pull immense amount of chaos from everywhere. And they want you to carry it with them. Not my job to carry your chaos. I have my own. I have enough of my own. So if I talk to someone, or if I see someone I haven't seen or talked to in a very long time, it may be because I know they're hyper theatrical. I won't ask them, "How are you doing?" I won't ask them, "How's it been going?" I'll walk up and I'll either give them a hug or shake their hand and say, "Hey, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Good to see you." And then stop. Stop. Don't go in. Don't ask any questions. "99% of the time, this same type of person will wait for the question." Now, keep in mind, their "why me" mentality is so wound up because they haven't seen you in a long time. They want to fill you in on their woes. They want to bring you down with them. So they're waiting for the question. They're waiting for you to ask, "How are you doing? How's it going?" I don't ask. "Been a long time since I've seen you. Good to see you." "Well, you know, I don't want to cut the conversation short, but I'm really, really busy, and I need to bugger off and take off." And they're standing there going, "Oh, you can tell it's killing them." But they don't want to be rude. They don't want to start going blah, 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 without you saying, "How's it been going? How are you doing?" And they don't want to get into comparative life chaos or comparative why me unless you start it. So if you walk up to them, hey, been a long time since I've seen you. It's really nice to see you again. And they look at you and say, how have you been doing? That is not a gateway for you to unload on them, knowing full well that gives them permission to unload on you. So if I just don't want to be bothered, or if I'm working on my own why me at the moment because life is going to hell in a handbasket and chaos has really taken a hold, I'll just look at them and say, you know, life really hasn't been that bad. It really hasn't. Life really has not been all that bad. Then they don't know what to do. Now, don't get me wrong, folks, really. We all need somebody to lean on. We all need, everybody needs someone to talk to, seriously. As a pagan minister, it is my job to listen. And I don't mind that. I really don't. If you are maybe not necessarily a pagan minister, but you're an elder in your pagan community, in my mind, your job, one of your jobs, we have many, is to help the pagan community by listening. But what you have to do is not allow yourself to be drug in or sucked in to that whirlpool of why me. And the old saying, one of the oldest sayings there is misery seeks company. Misery seeks company. So people that are miserable, I've never understood this one, but people that are miserable will seek out people that they know are just as miserable as they are, and they want to get into the comparative why me. They want to whine to each other about why me. And my question to many of them is the same question that was posed to me when I was 21 years old. Why not you? But I don't leave it like he did with me. I continue. What are some of the things that you're taking personal? It's not your fault. Aunt Susie passed away, or Uncle John was playing with the second cousin of Uncle Jim. It's not your fault. that that family member passed away. It's what happens. Now, if you lose your job, there are a multitude of variables that goes into losing a job. For about 3.5 or 4 years, I couldn't find a job. And the jobs I did find were 1 and 2 week contracts. But I know why that was. Up front, here it is, the economy sucks. It's 2008, we're in a housing crisis, we're in a job crisis. Hell, we're in an American crisis. So from 2008 to 2012, I bounced from job to job to job. And every one of them were contractor jobs. And it really is depressing, especially considering I was going to school at the time to get a degree to go with my then 20 some odd years experience in computers. And there were several days for a while that I really got into a feel sorry for me mode. But I soon quickly looked around me and saw just how damn lucky I am to have the family and friends that I have. Because I know several people that don't have family or friends. And that also falls back into that why me. Most people that have no friends, there is generally something that they are either doing or not doing or saying or not saying, or they have it in their mind that they can't stand humanity, they can't stand people. Well, if you can't stand people, don't be out looking for friends, because you're not going to find any. That's your own damn fault. Don't get hung up in why me, because the answer's in the mirror. So, all of these aspects, competitive illnesses, comparative illnesses, competitive and comparative chaos. When someone talks to you about how sick they are, you join in with trying to one-up. God dang it, I see it all the time on Facebook. It drives me nuts. You get 40 lines of people trying to compare or one-up the person that posted, "I'm really having a shitty day." Whatever happened to coming back with, "I'm sorry for your loss, I hope things get better. Candles lit, energy sent." Done. So we get hung up in this why me. Well, when we come back in the last segment of our broadcast, we're going to talk about changes you can make to get out of the why me mentality, to change your way of thinking, to change your process and your processes and the ways of thinking. So we will see you back here in about 5, and I hope you're enjoying the program. We'll see you back shortly.
You need a website. Why not do it yourself? With Wix, you can create your own professional website.
Hi guys, I'm Edie. This is a cover of Justin Timberlake, Cry Me a River with a twist. We've got Jesse on drums and Curtis on guitar. You were my sun, you were my earth. You didn't know always I love you. So you took a chance and made other plans. But I bet you didn't think that they would come crashing down. And you don't have to say what you did, I already know. I found out from him, and now there's just no chance for you and me. There'll never be, and don't it make it sad about it? You told me you love me, why did you leave me all alone? Now you tell me you need me when you call me on the phone. Well boy, I refuse, you must have me confused with some other girl. Bridges are burned and now it's your turn. Cry me a river, cry me a river, yeah. I know that they say that some things are better left unsaid, but it wasn't like you only talked to him. And if you know it, all of these things people told me keep messing with my head. You should have picked honesty, then you may not have blown it. And you don't have to say what you did, I already know. I found out from him, and now there's just no chance for you and me. There'll never be, don't it make it sad about it? You told me you love me, or why did you leave me all alone? Will you tell me you need me when you call me on the phone? Well boy, I refuse, you must have me confused with some other girl. The bridges are burned and now it's your turn. Cry me a river, cry me a river, cry me a river, cry me a river, yeah. Cry me a river, cry me a river, cry me a river. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, it's not warm when he's away. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, and he's always gone too long. Anytime he goes away, wonder this time where he's gone. Wonder how long he's gonna stay. Ain't no sunshine when he's gone, and he's always gone too long. Anytime he goes away, and you don't have to say what you did, I already know. I found out from him, and now there's just no chance for you and me. There'll never be, and don't it make it sad about it? You told me you love me, or why did you leave me all alone? Now you tell me you need me when you call me on the phone. Oh boy, I refuse, you must have me confused with some other girl. The bridges are burned and now it's your turn. Cry me a river, cry me a river.
Well, guys, I hope you have enjoyed our Cajun drums, as it were, coming through YouTube there. You can search YouTube Cajun drums playlist. Really kind of cool. Really kind of cool. So it looks like we've lost everybody out of the chat room. Maybe they buggered off. So, all right, we're going to finish up our segment on. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It looks like videos kind of locking up. Wonder if Facebook is tripping. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It looks like videos kind of locking up. Wonder if Facebook is tripping. Ah, there we go. All right, so we're going to finish up our segment this morning on WhyMe. And we've covered what it is. We've covered why it's caused. Now let's talk about how to get past it. And hi, KW. Let's talk about how to get past it. There are a couple of different ways to get around WhyMe. One, stop taking everything you see, or stop taking a lot of things you see personally. There have been a number of times I've posted things on Facebook, blogs, chat lines, or other posted videos on YouTube or whatever, and I will get a dissertation in email crawling my ass because I was talking about them on open forum. No, I wasn't. It had nothing to do with you. Well, if it did have something to do with you, stop being so personal. The things I talk about on these broadcasts and on these forums are things that I not only see you do, but things that I see a bunch of people do. A bunch. And the best ways around that is to realize that it's not all about you. The things that happen in this world truly, realistically, have very little to do with you or with me. Now, if I do something directly to someone that causes an effect on their end, that's my bad. Or that's my good if I did something good that helps them move on. But when we start having trouble keeping jobs, we need to look at self and say, okay, the last job I had, did I give it my best shot? Did I get involved with work? Did I essentially not necessarily keep my head down, but did I get involved with work and get my job done, get it done effectively and efficiently without taking shortcuts? So these are things, the questions that you have to ask yourself without winding yourself up in why me. somebody that can't keep a friend, for example, you got to take a look at a few things. Are you hyper theatrical? Do you make everything about you? When you're around your friends, is the only thing you do is whine about crap that you can't do anything about? Are you one of these types of people that no one can do anything right? No matter how hard they try, boy, do I know some people like this. No matter how hard you try, nothing you do is right. So these are the very types of individuals that can't keep friends, and they get all wrapped up in this why me and start feeling sorry for themselves instead of making the changes that are required to be made. So why me is very dangerous. I've seen a lot of people commit suicide because of why me. How do you fix it? Change your reaction to other people's actions. Change your perception of the world around you. And take a look at the things that are happening to you and around you and see if they're truly something you caused, something you did or didn't do. Take a look at it and say, is this really my fault? And one of the really big why me's is people that stay in abusive relationships. Men and women. I'm not talking about children. They really don't have a choice. But men and women who stay in abusive situations for whatever reason. And then these very same people that are abused, that are the victim, some of them want to play the victim. They want to go out in public and wham, 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 wham. But then when people intervene and get them out, some days, hours, weeks, months later, they go right back into the situation, and then they want people to feel sorry for them again. No. I've been here multiple times. Members of the HOP, I've gone and helped remove them from a situation only to watch them go right back into the situation and want people to feel sorry for them. My reply to that is no. You jumped right back into that snake pit knowing full well you were going to get bitten by a viper. I'll be here for you to talk to, but that's the best I can do. So in short, ladies and gentlemen, in short, and what it all comes down to, until you are willing to make the choice, to make the changes that need to be made, you're not going to change your environment, your surroundings, or things that are going on with you. You are not going to be able to get away from this why me mentality. The only way you're ever going to get away from the why me mentality is to change the way you react to others, including life. The way you're going to have to change the way you react to those actions. You're going to have to change the way you see yourself. You're going to have to change the way you perceive the world around you. There was a newscast on last night of a young lady, 20 years old, I think. And several years ago, her mom got stricken with a disease that caused her blindness. And a couple of years ago, her mom was also stricken with liver disease, so she has to go in and I forgot the term, but she has to go in twice a week to have something done to her liver. It lost the term. But case in point, there's a 20-year-old young lady who is her mom's single caregiver, made the decision to go to college to get the degree to become a biomechanical robotics engineer. That's a 12-year course all total. But she is studying and working on plans and blueprints for robotic eyeballs, so that when the human eye gives up for either high fever, disease, whatever, these eyes would be made to replace the existing eyes in the human being, and the leads would take the place of the nerves that attach to the eyes now, and attached to those parts of the brain, they would be able to move their eyes just like we do. Their eyes would dilate just as ours do, but they would feed that video, that digital video signal, to the brain just like our existing eyeballs do. She took and is taking a very bad situation. Now the reality is her mom's not going to live long enough to see her get out of college. Her mom's already in her mid to late 70s. She might, but with her health problems, she really doesn't see her making it that long. But let's pretty much end our segment with the young lady that could have gotten wrapped up and tied up in the chaos and the crap, took that crap and decided to get an education, decided to, of course, move forward with her life, and instead of getting hung up in why me, she is taking these things that are going on and turning them into a possible medical miracle. That is, you want to talk about making orange juice from oranges or lemon juice out of lemons. You want to talk about taking a bad and turning it into a good. But this goes for everyone, myself included. We are human. We hurt. We have things happen to us all the time. But you know, sometimes we get so wrapped up in the chaos, in the anxieties, in the pain of day-to-day life, that we truly forget the good things, the beauty, the magic, the amazement of the very planet that we live on. So when you find yourself getting hung up in the why me mentality, look at your house. Does it need cleaning? Clean it. Look at your life. Does it need changing? Change it. Look at your perception to reality. Is it right? If not, adjust it. Ladies and gentlemen, only you can make the change. I can't make them for you. But we are here for you. If you have questions, if you have thoughts or comments, if you just need someone to listen to you, we're perfectly fine with that. Thank you for watching today's broadcast. always here on Open Pagan Church and broadcast on the HOP group. If you want to know more about the HOP group or the Open Pagan Church or the HOP Church, by all means let us know. I'll be getting ready for my radio broadcast over on UnitedPaganRadio.net. We hope to see you there. Have a great week. Thanks again for watching.